Hi, welcome back. In the last video, we used Truss as well as Base 10 to deploy a machine learning model to the cloud. But what if you can't or don't want to deploy your machine learning model on Base 10's own cloud service? Truss, the library we used to pack up our machine learning model, gives us a lot of freedom here, and we can use it to deploy on any of the major cloud platforms as well. In this video, we are going to use the Truss to deploy on Microsoft's Azure cloud with the help of container instances. Let's go. Let's jump right into the Azure portal. If you don't have an account already, Azure usually offers some free credits to get you going. We are not affiliated with Azure in any way, but we think their platform is really neat and kind of user-friendly. To work in Azure, we first need a resource group. You can use an already existing group if you have one. If not, simply create a new one. We are going to call this group the Truss-group and provision it in Northern Europe. But you can choose any location that's closest and cheapest for you. After we created a resource group, we need to create a container registry. The Azure Container Registry is a place to where we can push our Docker container images. We are going to call it Truss Registry and provision it under the newly created resource group. And because we don't need a lot of power, we only select the basic SKU here. To be able to deploy the model in Azure, we first need to containerize it. For that, we need to have Docker Desktop installed on our computer. If you've never used Docker before, don't worry. Truss will handle everything for us. Just make sure that Docker Desktop is up and running on your computer. In a new terminal window in the directory you have saved the Truss in, type in Truss build-image and then the name of the Truss. In this case, it's Truss-kern. Hit enter and Truss will pack our model into a usable Docker container. This might take a few minutes. Now we have a container image and we also have the container registry. It's time that both of them get to know each other because next we need to push the container image to the container registry. For that, we'll use the Azure Command Line interface, or Azure CLI in short. There might be other ways to do this, but we find that this is the easiest way to do it. Also, if you are using Azure a lot, it is also a really handy tool to know in general. Go back to the command line. First, type in AZ login. This will open a browser window in which you can log into Azure. Next we type AZ ACR login --name followed by the name of our container registry, which is Truss Registry. After that, we'll be able to push Docker images to the Azure cloud. To do that, we need to give our Docker image a tag first. Type docker tag, then the name of our current image, which is sklearn-model right now, and name it trussregistry.azurecr.io/truss. That is the domain of our container registry. Please note that your domain might be different than the one here. After that, we push the image with the command docker push. Our image is about 1.5 gigabytes large, so this might take a short while.
One eternity later.
Back in the Azure portal, we can now see our image in the container registry. With that in mind, we can now create an Azure container instance. Container instances are really cool because they run your app like a normal computer would, but you don't need to set up any servers and they can scale automatically when there is high demand. As the group, we set the previously created Truss-group and name this container the Truss-instance. Again, we provision the resource in Northern Europe but you can choose the location that's best for you. We also need an image source for our container. We select the container registry as our source, choose our registry, and select the latest Truss image. Because we don't need a lot of power, 1 CPU core and 1 GB of memory should be fine. But you can of course get more power if you need. We are almost done. In the networking tab, we need to set the port to 8080. Now we can create and deploy the container instance. After the instance is deployed, we can copy this URL here and paste it into this code snippet. This snippet takes a part of our test data and sends it out as a request to the container instance. The response we get from the instance is a new prediction. As you just saw, getting the data out of the Kern AI refinery, as well as deploying a machine learning model to the cloud, does not have to be a hassle. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions or feedback you would like to share, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well to not miss out on any cool content in the future. Thanks for watching and cheers!